Hi, my name is George Andreas. I'm a senior designer at Rare Limited, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at kameo-elements-of-power on the Xbox 360. Those of you that are familiar with the game obviously know Kameo. You know she has the ability to turn into different warriors. The warriors effectively give her different attributes and abilities to progress through the game world. Now the warriors can be used for level progression things such as ice walls that Chiller, which Michael is controlling now, can climb up. And Chiller can also do other things in terms of combat, which we'll show you a little bit later on. Chiller's got a fast jump up the wall move as well. That makes it a lot quicker to get up these sections. You can actually use that kind of in quick succession, and he can jump quickly to the left as well and avoid blasts. Makes him a little bit more dynamic to control in those kind of situations. Now here we have the introduction of the trolls. These are the bad guys in the game. What you will notice straight away is the new visual effects that we have. We have a new bloom effect, we have a new depth of field, a full-time depth of field effect that's on screen all the time. And we obviously have these guys that are riding in on the back of a dragon. You can see the new cloud effect that we have as well. That is something that we've implemented since E3. And the sheer volume of characters that we've got flying around in the background. There's over 1,000 dragons currently flying around in the background there. Well, what Michael's going to do is quickly turn into Pummelweed. Pummelweed is a boxing plant character. He was one of the first characters that we developed, and I so desperately wanted to get a boxing character in there because I'm a big fan of boxing myself, so that's where the inspiration for this guy came from. So we'll take you through some of Pummelweed's upgraded abilities a little bit later on. We'll just quickly highlight Major Ruin. Major Ruin is a rock armadillo character, and you'll notice with each transformation you can see Kameo inside the body of these creatures. This is to reinforce the role that she's actually in control of these characters. She's the one that's doing all the action bits basically. Major Ruin's useful for getting up ramps and half pipes, a little bit like a skateboarder, and he's got lots of jumps that he can perform a little bit later on in the game. He's also useful for kind of battering into the trolls and sending them flying. You'll notice he's got spikes on his back as well. The spike can actually impale the trolls that are a little bit harder to pick up, but we'll show you that a little bit later because it's quite hard to do it on these guys because their energy levels are very low, so they die the moment you hit them. We'll quickly show you a couple of Chiller's extra moves. Chiller's got the ability to throw the trolls onto his back. He can run around with these characters if he likes. He can actually climb with these characters on his back if he likes. You can take them from section to section. The other thing you can do with these characters, once they're on your back, you can pull them off a little bit like a baseball bat. You can see the real body physics that we have on the trolls there and their movement. So you can smash the other trolls with these. You can also throw these characters away once you've acquired them. We're going to an aiming mode. Nearly hit the dragon with that. Let's get rid of those quickly. If you'll notice around the environment as well, there's lots of spikes and there's fire pits and stuff, and depending on how successfully you actually kill the trolls, you can actually knock them into the spikes, and that earns you more points, and bigger point scores mean more unlockables later on in the game. So it's a good idea whilst you're playing through the game to actually keep an eye out for all the environmental death things that we have as well. Okay, we're going to jump a little bit more forward now to a section that's in the same level but halfway through the level. So obviously Major Ruin is useful for getting across chasms and jumps such as this. And what we're going to show you here is we've got the full screen heat haze effects as well as the depth of field that we showed you earlier on. Again, this is something that normally is localized in small areas, but we can actually do this on quite a big area now. So now what we're going to do is quickly jump to the latter part of the level and show you guys something that we haven't shown before, haven't revealed yet. This is effectively what happens at the end of the first section when Kameo manages to make it all the way to the top of the castle. So here we have Kameo sneaking into the castle with the ancestors on the ground and Callus above the ancestors. And that's the objective, and that's the mother, that's Athena. The objective for the player is to rescue these ancestors. This is Thorn. Thorn is the big bad troll. Hopefully you guys noticed Thorn hitting Kameo. When he hit Kameo, 3 of the warrior spirits came out of her, so the player will now start the adventure with none of the warriors that she had at that stage. So it's just a kind of a way of making the player start again on the second part of the adventure. So we joined that particular adventure at the end of a particular rescue mission. This is another new character. This is called the Mystic. Without trying to give too much of the plot away at this stage, we'll probably flick through that really quickly, but the Mystic plays a very important role in the whole game, and you'll kind of cross her path many times, and she gives you a lot of the backstory to what it was all about, why you were at the castle, how the story actually evolves from then on. Most of the time, in fact all the projects that we've ever done in the past, we haven't had any professional voice acting, we've done it all in-house ourselves. But for the first time we've actually gone to town and got some hired help from outside of Rare. The other thing we've done for the first time with a Rare game as well is actually got an 90-piece orchestra to come in and play all the music as well for the game. So it's a massive production job, but the lead musician Stephen Burke wrote all the music, and then we got it done through the orchestra. Okay, let's jump to the next section. We're now going to give you guys a glimpse of a new character that we've not shown to date, and again, if you blink you're going to miss him, so we're not going to show you too much on him, just give you a quick heads up on him. This is a Shadow Troll. Shadow Trolls play a very important role in the whole way the game works. The player effectively has to track down these Shadow Trolls, and they're dotted all around the game world. The Shadow Trolls hold the key. That's broken, by the way, that's why it's playing really slowly. The Shadow Trolls hold the key to acquiring the warrior's abilities again. So the Shadow Trolls have possession of all the warriors at this stage. As you can see, we actually walk around this landscape. We've got a map system in place now that we didn't have at E3. Makes it very easy to know where the next location to go in. The professional voice acting, as I said earlier on, we've now got it so that when you walk around the Enchanted Kingdom area, not only does the level look alive, but it actually feels alive, it sounds alive as well. So everywhere you go, you can hear people speaking and conversing and talking amongst themselves. We can probably go over and have a quick chat with this guy. Again, we get to see the kind of the window-in-window system there for the character. Okay, if we walk through, what we will do actually, just at that point, do you want to bring up the whatnot quickly? This guy's Ortho. This is somebody that we haven't spoken much about at this stage. Now Ortho effectively is an adaptive hint system, okay? And it's again the very first type of system employed in these kind of games, and Ortho will tailor his advice depending on how well or badly you're actually playing the game. So if you're doing really well at the game, you won't hear Ortho much. He'll give you very tenuous hints and very tenuous clues as to what to do and where to go. If you're doing absolutely terrible at the game, you won't shut him up, basically. He'll be talking all the time and literally giving you the answers to the puzzles and the questions that you're looking for. So we just wanted to make the product as approachable as possible, and Ortho is like a big part of that, really. Okay, let's walk around and quickly go over to the water. Again, you get to see the new bloom effect. We got the depth of field. Move the camera in a little bit closer there.
There's no shame in asking for my help.
That's Ortho then piping up there. If we actually look up there, that's the castle that you've just come from. That's Thorn's castle, way off in the distance. And we've gone to great lengths to ensure that all the levels have physical things that the player can see, just to make the whole world feel a lot more believable and cohesive. Let's walk up a little bit further and go over to the water. We've shown bits and pieces on the water effect up to now. We've kind of refined the water effect to almost to a level that we're happy with. If we actually keep walking through these bits and move the camera up a little bit and spin it around, maybe pull it out a bit, there we go. So you guys get to see the kind of almost the realism that we have there. And as I said at E3, we've actually got very realistic looking water. Now you can see with the ripple effect that we have employed there. It kind of follows the player, and it's mathematically correct water as well, so it actually works as it would do in real life in terms of the way it actually works. The amount of computations it takes to actually produce water as realistic looking as that is a hell of a lot, so it's something that we've only really been able to do with Xbox 360. Okay, we'll just quickly run up. If we actually look over to the left-hand side there, Michael, on the balcony, and just highlight the mountain way off in the distance, that's a location that we'll be going to a little bit later on in the demonstration. If you just stay there, that's cool, yeah. So that's the mountain falls. Yeah, okay. Stop it. Okay. That's the mountain falls there, so that's an area we'll be going to a little bit later on. again, you can appreciate the depth of field there. It makes the level feel huge in terms of where it is in location to the castle. If we quickly go into the room. Okay, we'll just walk forward. You guys have probably seen bits of this before. You notice that the level is going from day to night on the outside. One thing that we've now got is the interior sections going from day to night as well. So wherever you are in the game world, you'll know the time of day, basically. If we quickly go a little bit further up and turn around and just go into head cam, and we'll quickly show these guys the new particle system we got. We've got over 1 million particles in this one room now. So again, in terms of the amount of things we can get on screen is very, very impressive. And as the level's going from day to night, you get to see a few more of them as well appear. One of the great things we got with all the NPCs as well, they all have different routines depending on the time of the day. So during the night they do different things, during the day they do different things. So if you actually want to follow an NPC around the place and see what they're up to, you can do. The NPCs are actually key and integral to upgrading the warriors. That's something we'll go into a little bit more detail on in a section towards the end of the demonstration. Okay, let's jump onto the Badlands. Now this is the first time the player leaves the safety of the Enchanted Kingdom and they come down onto the battlefield, an area you guys have probably seen before. We're going to show you a couple of new sections on it. That's the Enchanted Kingdom, and Kameo coming safely down to the ground. This is a new character, this is Farron. We've not revealed him yet. He's the leader of the elf army, and he's the guy that basically takes care of business on the Badlands. And we won't reveal too much of the ins and outs, but effectively Kameo borrows a horse off Talon and is then riding off to the next destination. Here you can see the depth of field, again, the new cloud system, as we revealed the trolls. So if we just stand still there and just pan around, at E3 we had the best part of 3,000 trolls on there. We've still got 3,000 characters on there, but not only have we got the 3,000 characters, we got the parallax map in the depth of field, all the explosive effects, the grass. We've got a hell of a lot going on there in terms of the detail in the background. The horse is very useful for getting across the Badlands very, very quickly, but it's also useful to actually ram the trolls out of the way with as well. So if we actually charge straight through the trolls, you see the trolls flying off all over the place when you hit them. If you actually run back up the hill again, get to appreciate the size of this landscape. This is just one slope on the big landscape, and run back down. The spirit bar is going to run out, so I've got to be quick here. You can get off the horse at this stage if you want to actually take part and fight these trolls, but it's not advisable to do it, obviously, being outnumbered as you are there. So now we've got another addition to the battle. The battle's now commenced, and we now have 4,000 characters on screen. If we spin the camera around, you'll see the trolls and the elves actually fighting at this point. So it's a sheer quantity, it's a sheer kind of processing power of the 360 really. It's allowing us to do stuff such as this. If we actually run over to the right-hand side and go towards the shrine area, we'll just quickly jump off, probably move the camera in a bit closer. That's cool. So again, you get to see the amount of stuff that we've got. It's a huge, vast area to explore. Again, notice the map on the right-hand side. We don't want the player to ever feel that they're lost, to ever feel that they don't know where they're going or what it is they should be doing. As we fight these characters, you'll see the grass that we have here as well, and there's grass dotted all over this immense landscape. If you leave the horse unattended for too long, the trolls actually steal it as well. We've actually got 3 different types of steeds, as we call them, throughout the whole game. To start with, there's a horse, then we have a dragon a little bit later on that you can actually ride around on, and then there's another kind of version of the dragon, which is kind of like a secret character that you can find. Okay, that's cool. Let's now move on to the next part. We're now going to show you a section that we haven't shown to date. I asked Michael to have a look over the balcony earlier on to show you the mountain falls, which was an area that was way off in the distance. I'm take over from this point, and we'll just treat you to another adventure level that's obtainable in the game. Every adventure area that you go to, you'll notice there are different types of characters that live there. So this is a more kind of watery themed level. and these are the water tribe characters that live in this particular section. So I'm just going to quickly run around this section. Again, you get to see the heat haze effects that we have, the detail in the rocks, the bloom effect. It's a fairly big area, and the mountain that I was talking to you about earlier on, that's all the way up there. This is a section the player has to come to halfway through the game, and the idea is to climb all the way up to the mountain, then come all the way back down again. There's all sorts of cool stuff that happen up there, but we're not going to actually reveal those to you today. Okay, we're now going to introduce another couple of characters. We have Ash, who's a fire-breathing dragon. We kind of touched on him at E3. Let's get that off. So Ash is obviously a fire-breathing dragon. We'll show you some of his combat stuff a little bit later. But obviously he can burn some of the locals, but being a water character, it doesn't actually do any damage. The NPCs actually fight back as well, so if you're not careful, they can actually hurt you. We're now going to introduce you another character. This is called Deep Blue. Deep Blue is a water-based character, and Deep Blue's got the ability to obviously run around on land. Again, you can see Cameo inside, and the great thing about Deep Blue is it allows the player for the first time the ability to squirt water, which is what you'll need for certain sections that are upcoming, and also actually dive down into the water and enter and go into sections that you couldn't access before. So we'll just go into a new section through here. Again, this is another section that we haven't revealed to date. This is the Water Temple, and this is one of the action sections the player has to go through to rescue one of the ancestors. So we'll just give you a quick snippet of this. Here's the troll submarine coming in, and we have the trolls actually coming down from there. And as the camera pans up, you'll see Callus at the top there. That's the evil sister, together with the trolls taking the ancestor off to one of the bosses. Okay, so you can see how kind of realistic things look underwater now. If I actually quickly go to the surface before it goes to night time, hopefully pan down, you get to see the refraction techniques that we have on the water. I'll try and get up a little bit more. Look down. So it's a very kind of realistic effect. Let's go down into the water and try and avoid these torpedoes. Now the great thing about Deep Blue is not only does he allow you to swim underwater very quickly, he also allows you to throw torpedoes and shoot torpedoes. And this is, again, kind of highlighting the difference between the warriors. And when you do acquire a new warrior, it kind of opens up slightly different gameplay possibilities and makes the levels feel different and fresh each time. So I'll just quickly take out the submarine. Get rid of that. Run out of spirit. Actually, as the day's going from day to night here, you'll see a little bit more of the detail and the amount of bubbles that are actually on screen. It's hard to see during the day. Okay. We won't go inside at this stage. There is some stuff in there, but we'll hold off. Okay, this is the water boss at the end of the level. You'll notice inside the boss, you'll see one of the ancestors. I'll go into head cam in a second just to show you guys. Okay, there's Lenya, there's one of the ancestors. She's been held captive inside. Again, you get to see the new lighting techniques that we have, the water effects that we've already spoken about. Makes the whole level look and feel, together with the depth of field, kind of something close to that you'd associate with kind of a Pixar movie. The idea with this boss is to use Major Ruin to throw the bombs onto the boss and then quickly dive into the water after him, and then kind of double up with Deep Blue and shoot the tentacles off the boss while it's under the water. Let's quickly get out before he zaps the water. Now the boss intensifies in terms of what he does, but he does a lot of surprise attacks a little bit later on, but we don't want to reveal too much of those as well. We're just giving you a quick glimpse as to Corrales and what he does. Okay, so that's a quick sneak peek there at one of the bosses. Every time you cross the battlefield, the battle actually intensifies, and this is a little bit later on in the game that we're joining this particular battle. Now bear in mind, the first section you saw had 3,000 characters, and then we threw another 1,000 in just for good fun, which was the elves. This is a section later on in the game which we're throwing a little bit more at the player this time round. Okay, in that one scene there are actually 5,000 characters on screen, and they range from all sorts of different things, from the elves to the trolls to the tanks to the dragons that we have, together with the ogres. Again, in sheer volume of numbers, it's just incredible how many we can get on there. Now what I'm going to do is introduce you to another new character that you haven't seen to date, and I'll just turn that down a bit so you can hear me a bit better. This is Thermite. Thermite's actually one of my favourite characters because he looks so cute and cuddly and quite innocuous. He's actually a little ant character carrying this big egg on his back, and obviously his little legs aren't able to carry him across the vast landscape very quickly. Thermite's actually one of my favourite characters because he packs quite a punch, and I'll show you some of the moves he does here. What I'm using here is a shield move he's able to use to get across the landscape very quickly. As we get in close, I'll show you I'll introduce you to Thermite's egg bombs that he's able to throw out the back of his volcanic shell. So here we are joining the battle. I'm going to try and avoid these dragons up here. And these are the egg bombs that you can actually throw out. Now the egg bombs kind of look quite innocuous on their own, but you'll see the devastation they're able to cause. And the amount of trolls you're able to get rid of together with your own comrades. It's just kind of, it's like death on legs basically. So clearing a path full of characters with Thermite is very easy to do. The battle actually stretches out way off into the distance, but I'm going to go over here and get a little bit closer to... Oh, managed to kill him pretty quickly. Too quickly. See the dragons flying down here as well and trying to join in the battle. Now what I'm going to do is upgrade these bombs to a slightly harder hitting bomb. It looks very similar, but you'll notice when it actually explodes, it'll split into several other bombs that also have an effect as well. So it causes a massive radial effect. The other great thing about this is that it actually leaves pools of fire around. So if the trolls run through the fire, they get burnt as well, and actually can make the other trolls turn on fire as well. Here we have the big ogre. So now you hopefully begin to appreciate why I think Thermite's one of the best characters in a situation like this. Again, we have the level going from day to night. Let's send some more characters flying. Okay, we won't go any further there. And 2 more sections to show you. We're going to reveal to you now the night boss. Again, hopefully you can appreciate the amount of detail that we have in the character, the depth of field again, giving the whole scene a far more solid look, realistic look. For the night boss, the way that you defeat him is you have to use a combination of 2 warriors. Let's try and goad him into hitting down. So with Chiller, you actually shoot the pact on the front of the night boss and release the prisons on the side. We've got these little characters called magmites that are running over there. The way you actually use the magmites is with Snare. Snare's of the plant element, is a character we haven't shown much on so far, but Snare can pick up the magmites, and you've got to do it pretty quickly before the night boss actually gets rid of them. And by using a physics-based system, we can actually move the stick backwards and forwards to gain momentum, and then throw the magmites onto the night boss. You'll notice if I can do it quickly, they'll attach onto him. There we go. When they're attached onto him, I'll throw a few more on there if I can. They should flash. They're not flashing at the moment, but they should do. Let's quickly try and detonate. He's going to squash me if I try that. And then just by simply shooting one, you then cause like a chain reaction and detonation effect. And the idea is to kind of being able to kind of wear him down over time. Oh. Squished me a little bit there. And again, this progresses, and there's all sorts of other surprises in store for the players that progresses. We'll just give you a quick glimpse of that. And moving on to the last section, one of the things you can do with all the warriors, you can actually upgrade their abilities. So you start with a handful of moves to begin with. As you progress through the game, you then get more and more abilities, depending on how many kind of subtasks you do in the world. So what I'm going to try and do now is demonstrate some of the advanced moves with some characters that you probably haven't seen to this stage, at this point. And the objective of this particular level is to fight your way through the airship on the wings, and you kind of clamber all over it. It's a very dramatic looking level. Okay, what I'm going to do now is show you some of the advanced moves. Let's start with Pummelweed and upgrade him. Now if you look on the top of Pummelweed, you'll actually see kind of like a serrated edge to his leaves at the top. This is something that he acquires later on. And with the razor top, you can actually cut into the base of the troll. So if you listen closely, you'll hear the kind of buzzsaw effect it has as I move into the characters. So that kind of makes him a little bit more versatile in using that move. He's also got a one-hit kill uppercut punch that I'll try and pull off. And I'm not pulling it off. Okay, let's get out of the way. Okay, let's power it up from here. You'll see the whirlwind appear. Here we go. It does work, honest. It's so advanced, it's so hard to pull off. There we go. So it's a one-hit kill, so you can actually break the trolls up into pieces. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so you power up the Pummelweed's moves through the duration of the game. So that's a couple of the moves he's got. He's also got another move where he can double tap forward and knock lots of characters flying very quickly. We're now going to move on to a character that you haven't seen yet called Flex. Flex is a water-based character. He's very kind of goofy looking. This guy's inspiration actually came from rubber bands and elasticity and elastic bands. Flex has got 4 arms, so it obviously makes him very good at actually trying to hit multiple characters very quickly. With Flex, you can then pull back and actually throw the characters off the side as well, and actually pile drive them down into the ground. Very quick, cool techniques. The other thing Flex can do, he can pick up a troll and use them as a shield, and also power up a super shock move. It makes him quite devastating. And another move that he's got is something called the Storm. Just wait for the spirit bar to come back. You notice his base stays where it is, and then I'm able to throw off lots of punches very quickly. So it makes him very kind of versatile and a very good monster to use for close range combat. Okay, we'll now quickly jump on to Thermite. We'll show you some of his upgraded moves. We have a Firecracker move. I can get away from that troll. You can fire these firecrackers onto the trolls, and they actually stick onto the body of the troll, and it sends him higher and higher in the air. It's like a super kind of multiple combo hitting thing. So he's gone flying up into the air there. The other thing Thermite can do, he can actually suck. No, he can't. He's on me. Got these ones. You can actually use a suction move and grab the trolls at the end, to the end of the egg, and fire them back like a torpedo. Actually shoot those back as well on that. Let's quickly move on to Snare. That's a character you saw a little bit earlier on. Snare's got a root attack that's very good at getting rid of a lot of characters very, very close up. The other thing Snare can do, he can pick the characters up, and he actually likes feeding on the trolls. So he can jump up and eat these characters. Another move that Snare has is a toxic bile move. Move out the way. It's basically like an acidic substance that burns the trolls on contact. So it's given you hopefully a bit of an idea of the kind of versatility of some of these characters. Let's quickly show Deep Blue and some of the other moves that this guy can do. You can actually go down into the ground with Deep Blue and pick the trolls up with the tentacles and slam them on the ground and slam them both together as well. Another move that Deep Blue has is a whirlpool move. You can actually drag the trolls down under. Another thing that Deep Blue can do, if you actually combine him together with Ash, he can squirt oil. So if I actually aim the oil onto the trolls and get enough of the trolls covered with enough of the oil, and then I ignite the oil, it has an explosive effect. Once you light the ground, you can actually carry the fire around with you as well. So it's kind of like an elemental system in place there, so you can actually use that to your advantage in that situation. Okay, let's quickly show you a couple more. So this is Rubble. This is another character that you may or may not have seen before. Rubble's got the abilities, obviously, of the rock element, and he's made up of a pile of bricks together. You can throw the rocks off individually. The rocks actually come back to him, kind of like a boomerang style, so you can throw as many of them off as you possibly can before they all come back. You can power Rubble up to do a storm move. It's kind of like a shotgun move as well, so he's just left with the head there, bouncing around. Have to wait for the rock to actually come back, so it's very useful for getting rid of lots of characters very quickly. And the last characters we're going to show you quickly. Right, got 40 Below. 40 Below's got the ability to throw these kind of icy snowballs. He's also got the ability to freeze the characters with his frosty breath. Once you freeze a character, you can then smash it with the appropriate characters. So with Major Ruin, I can smash straight through. So freezing and smashing is useful for getting rid of the characters quickly. Oh, that's a Doom Troll there. That's an advanced one. Let's get rid of those.